Hi and welcome to the 86th Hammer tutorial. Today we're going to be working with instances, creating them, implementing them, triggering them, changing parameters, and overall use of them. Today I'm going to use the Portal 2 authoring tools. This tutorial will work for Alien Swarm, Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, and Portal 2. I do believe those are currently the only games that support instances. I could be wrong though. Alright, so let's get started. In Hammer for Portal 2, when it starts responding, alright, I'm going to have two cube droppers be in this level and I want them instanced. If you don't know what an instance is, it's like a prefab that references to another VMF. So that way, let's say you change that instance VMF, it automatically updates in all of your other maps that use that instance. There are already a massive index of instances in Portal 2 in the instances folder in your map src. So let's get started with this. I'm going to minimize that map, and I have a blank map open right here. So I'm going to go ahead and create a model for my instance. So the dropper model is prop dynamic, and model is dropper. And you'll notice that this one has two skins. We're going to make an instance that makes this blue, and we're going to make one instance, and we're going to have it be able to change between the two droppers. So we're going to start with skin 0. And when building an instance, you need to make everything be on the origin, because that's where it will get centered on. So now we have that, and we go and create another model that's going to be a prop weighted cube, and we place this inside of here, and then we create a point template. And everything inside an instance needs to be named accordingly. You cannot name these stupid things. So I'm naming mine cube drop temp. And the cube is going to be named cube drop cube. And the tunnel is going to be named cube drop model. And I'm going to conceal everything inside of the tube so everything stays, in one place. Now, one of the big tricks for instances is that everything needs to get fired from a relay. So you can easily trigger it. So right here, we're going to make a logic relay, and this is going to be called cube drop relay. So now we're going to end up triggering this when we're in our actual map. So for this, we have add on trigger cube drop model, set animation open, copy paste. We want to cube drop template to force spawn. We want both of these to take place 0.01 seconds. And we want to add on trigger cube dissolve. So that way, if there's another cube already out there and available, it will dissolve it. And then we want to, after 3 seconds, we want to set the animation to close. And on the model, you want to make sure that hold animation, where is it? Hold animation is set to yes. What hold animation does is it doesn't loop animations. When it reaches its last frame, it waits there. As for its default animation, you need it to be bind pose. Now there's only a couple more things that we have to do to make this work. you cannot directly access entities inside an instance in your level. So we have to use what is called a proxy relay. So you just create another entity, and you want this to be, you just type in instance or ins, and you want func instance IO proxy. Click OK, and then you name this proxy. That's it. Now you delete that and you hit add on proxy relay cube drop relay trigger, and that's all you add. That's it. Let's say we had 2 relays that we want to trigger. You would still add another output to this. So if there was cube relay 1 drop, we hit add on proxy relay trigger. So everything that would possibly get triggered is going through this proxy relay. It's just needed for the game to be able to access them. Now we need one more entity. We need a func instance params. Now this one is kind of confusing, but it allows you to overwrite settings. So what we're going to do here is we go to skin on the model, because like I said, we're going to have 2, one be orange, one be blue. And we're going to put $skin, and then in the func instance param, we put skin. See, it automatically detected that it's that value. Now, it'll ask you for what kind of value this is. So now what we have to do is we have to know what it is. One of the easiest ways to find this is you have prop dynamic, so press F1 to bring up the Valve developer page. Go to the search function of the website. Search for your model, and then find skin, and that's an int. See, there's boolean, string, so we want int. So integer int, and the default is going to be 0. Alright, now we have to save our instance, so we click Save As. Now, I keep all my maps in a different folder in Tutorials Maps for these tutorials. For an instance to be accessible, you have to put it in the same location inside folders from where your map is saved. So your map becomes the root location. So I'm going to click New Folder, Instances, go into here, save it as Dropper, and then that's it. Now I can close this map, go back to my original one, and now we have to implement the instance. So we create a func instance, and now we click VMF file name, browse, and it automatically found the instance folder. Double click Dropper, click Apply. You'll see a loading thing go across your screen really quick. That's it, loading the VMF. And now anything that's an instance will appear with like a puke green shade on it. I don't know why they chose that color, it's obnoxious. Anyways, so all you have to do now is place your model. Like I said, I want 2, but here we go. Now we look in replace. It has skin. We set the default to 0. If you leave it as the 3 question marks, it will remember the default value. But I want 1 to be 0. I'm just setting it because I can. And then when I shift drag this over here, I want this other one to be 1. Now what you will notice is I have changed the skin to 1, but it will not change the skin until the level is compiled. Very big difference. Now we need to be able to directly access these instances. So we have fix-up name. So we'll have dropper 1 and dropper 2. Now what the fix-up name does is when this level is compiled, both these names are going to end up being, they're going to have dropper placed in front of the name, so that way we can access them differently. Now I'll show you how to trigger them. It's kind of weird. Hit add. I'm pressed. You'll select the whole func instance, so it will be dropper, and then via this input you type instance, and here we go. It automatically found that there's that cube dropper trigger. But if it doesn't auto-complete it, we have instance colon cube dropper relay. So the logic relay inside the level, right? The logic relay inside the instance, which is right there. Trigger. Now we'll copy and paste that, and we'll go to dropper 2, and we'll change its delay to 3 so we can see the difference. Now I'm going to go ahead and compile my level, and then I will see you guys in Portal 2 for once. So when I went to test it, it turned out that they didn't work. And this is one of the best things about instances. If you select an instance and bring up its, and you click edit instance on its properties, it'll take you to the VMF file. Now if you'll notice, I told this just to open and close because I honestly thought that was the animation, but it turns out it's item dropper open and close, which is weird. So we automatically put these there instead of, you know, my wrong animations. And then we click save, and it automatically will update it inside of the other level. And you can see, because that was an output, you don't see any change. But if we come in here and let's say we just copy this entity down to create another one, we come back to our level. There it is. There's the other one. So you're able to see the live changes. So we just resave that, close that, and then recompile it, and it'll work this time. Trust me. So here I am in Portal 2. You'll notice that we have the blue one and the orange one because we've set the skin with the parameter. Push the button, drops the cube over there, and drops the cube over there. And it closes up their animation, all good. And now, when I push this button, it'll fracture that, fizzle that cube, drop the new one, fizzle that one, drop the new one. So that all works nicely. So, I hope this tutorial has helped you create, modify, insert, trigger, and use instances to their full potential. If you're still kind of worried, if you still don't quite know what instance can be used for, they're good if you have multiple people working on the same map, if you want to build a massive system and then rotate it, so that way you can build it on grid, and if you want to constantly reuse things with only changing a certain amount of parameters, they're better than prefabs. So, I hope this tutorial helped you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.